which will become more meaningful and relevant. And there was a point of time when I was talking to Nattu, people know him as Nutward, People Network, Job Plus, some incredible gentlemen, and we have got two lovely ladies here sitting from the network people. And they said, nothing has much has been done about ESG. We've been talking in this segment in hospitality. I would really, for one, not know, is really hospitality industry the first adopter of ESG? But I think these guys have done some remarkable work. And what we said that in Hotelier GM Summit, let's roll this out, ESG and Vinodni, the editor, and Sheetal, and all of us. And I think a big hand to Shalu, I can't see, who has curated this. Shalu, are you around in the hall? Yeah, she's at the backstage, but give her a hand. And you know, this team worked, and I'm to tell you, this is its maiden attempt. ESG has really made noise, and we got so many nominations, and we will see the jury tonight, who has really gone through the acid test to decide the winner. I think it's a very great moment for all of us, and I think I would like to bring in our host, Kunal. Can I have you on stage? And yeah, let's give him a big round of applause, and all his team members who have been working tirelessly with us to bring this incredible moment. And he was like sold out. You know, when the hotels come and say, listen, you know, we are sold out. And I have to tell you that while it hurts because we are struggling to get hotel at a rate that we want, but at the same time, I'm like you one there. And I feel that every hotel should say that sold out. We don't have dates, we are sold out, and you're going to charge you hell of a money. So Kunal, with his big heart that he has, he said, so what we'll do, we will make sure that we will host. So that's Kunal. Thank you, Kunal, for being the lovely host that you are. And the stage is yours. I really, for one, would like to see the shout that you can do for Kunal. Kunal, come up.
Well, thank you all. Thank you very much for joining us today evening. I think your presence here is what makes it special. The attempt by ITP India and JW Sahar is to bring us all together. It's a GM summit. Add to it what is the flavor, not of the month, but probably the decade to come, ESG. That makes it more meaningful. I think it's a time to go through and value add to ourselves. So we really value this evening and the participation. I don't think my vote of thank will be enough if I don't thank my team at JW Sahar and the ITP India team, which has actually allowed me and Vibhor to almost walk in like guest here with things already done for us, set up, and I think it's been most brilliantly handled by them. So thank you. So everything good you see today is them. I'm really grateful to have a brilliant team like this. Vibhor, I think he's one glue who's kept the entire industry together. His events are most sought after. That's what makes it most valuable for us to come and join him together. Our award-winning Vibhor, he's got a lot of awards this year for the brilliant work they've done. Recognition is most important. I think it feeds us all. Being number one, being recognized for being number one is, and I think they truly deserve it for everything they do for the industry. Most importantly, I think what fuels our battery as JW Marriott Sahar, our ownership, Chalet, which is probably one company which is so fueled by passion towards ESG. I think somebody at 2 years back committing into Dow's sustainability index and improving about 14 points in 1 year is incredible. And the moment we discuss that and the kind of response we get from our ownership, which says, yeah, let's do it. ESG is a passion. It's something that the company is committed by ethos. So that makes it wonderful. Marriott International, where we have nothing but all support for any initiative that brings us all together and does well for Hotels India. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's actually a pleasure to have you all here. Thank you.
You know, people say less is more, and Kunal, every word counts from you. And my last 2 cents on our partners, I hate to call them sponsors. I love them as my partners because they've been the one who have been holding our hands together. I would name the brands. I mean, all of these incredible brands, I mean, they give you that cutting edge. And today, as hoteliers, as designers, as consultants, as asset owners, it's important to understand the journey because they are helping you to give you their solutions to stay ahead of the curve. Ladies and gentlemen, absolute thank you very much from bottom of our hearts to see you this evening. Like you, I'm here to learn for more. And thank you once again for your trust and love that you supported us all through. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vibhor, for that powerful speech. I would now like to call upon stage Mr. Nagraj Rao, Grohe, our Powered by partner, to give a glimpse into the world of Grohe.
Thank you, everyone. Really nice to be in here, standing in front of you all, and it's a real honor for me to be part of this particular event. And special thanks, Vibhor and the Hotelier team for putting this all through and inviting us. We love being associated with Hotelier, and we love the hospitality industry. So thank you all for that. So now, coming to Lixil. So Lixil has been associated with the hospitality industry for a very, very long time through our brands Grohe and American Standard. And this is something which is really close to us. The bathroom industry is not just something which is very functional, but also a lot more personal as well. We spend a lot of time. Our guests, they spend time in the bathrooms to detoxify, to rejuvenate after a long day. And many a times we also, ideas start clicking in. Like this morning, I was thinking, what should I speak in this event? So thanks to JW for giving me a good bathroom. And my thoughts start flowing in. Our customers are well-traveled, and they expect a lot of luxury, comfort, and feel. And that's what Grohe as a brand has been doing in terms of getting in product launches every year. So imagine that every single time we use the faucet, it raises a question of how. And that's what we did with the launch of our 3D series, answering a question of how every single time. This we did a couple of years back. Apart from it, then we had the Grohe Spa launch. Every single shower that you have would have a different design, would have a different pattern of spray. How do we do that? That's what we did with the Grohe Rain Shower Aqua that we launched a couple of years last year. And this year, we are actually putting in another luxurious product to you. It's called the Grohe Atrio Private Collection. And I do not want to talk much about it, but I want to show you a small video.
An art form that blends shape and material into beauty, in which quality transforms functionality into an experience, and in which craftsmanship forges raw material into exclusive elegance, shaping it with intricate detailing through high precision milling for impeccable quality and a perfect handcrafted finish, carefully refining it from a rough surface into a tactile sensation, accepting nothing less than perfection. Precision work down to the smallest detail. each corner perfectly finished, every surface flawlessly polished. The elements complement each other perfectly. All this remarkable craftsmanship finally comes together in our Grohe Atrio private collection. Creating a brilliantly designed product of the highest quality.
Curated icons expressing our personalities. We feel at ease in our home of choice. Enjoy the calmness of water. We drift away into imagination. We breathe, let go. As unique as you and me.
In a ESG summit, we saw how water flows. Okay. But I would also want you to think, how did Grohe save about 12 billion liters of water in the last 1 year, which is equal to the India's population's drinking water requirement for 4 days. So that discussion we will have outside. We do have our display over there of the beautiful Atrio collection. So please do visit. And thank you again for being a part of this industry. And we love working with the hospitality industry. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. Nagraj, for sharing your invaluable insights from Grohe. Now let's begin our first panel discussion, GM Crossroads from staff and guests to profits and planet. May I please call on stage our esteemed panelist, Mr. Bhagwan Balani, GM ITC Maratha, Mr. Kunal Chauhan, GM JW Marriott Mumbai Sahar, Mr. Manish Daya, General Manager Sofitel Mumbai BKC, Mr. Nitesh Gandhi, General Manager Four Seasons Hotel Mumbai, Mr. Rajiv Kapoor, General Manager Fairmount Mumbai, and Mr. Vivek Sharma, General Manager Taj The Trees Mumbai. And moderating this insightful discussion, Mr. Jatin Khanna, CEO of Sarovar Hotels and Resorts.
So do we have enough mics, first of all? Yeah. Manish, you want caller or you're okay? All right, so we'll share mics. But good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming this evening. We have six very seasoned and very senior general managers with us. I've had the pleasure of working alongside a couple of them, and obviously admire some of you from the other side. So thank you. We're going to be with you for next 60 minutes. And the idea is that we'll talk about staff, associates, team members, or guest, profit, and planet. Obviously, planet will form a major part of our discussion, which we've seen between Vibhor and Kunal as to how they've touched upon ESG part. But we've also promised each other that we'll try and keep the data or points which are available on internet away from this discussion, which means no more corporate vision. Otherwise, Vivek said that he wants to take over the entire 1 hour from IHCL. So we said, let's refrain from that. So let me straight away dive into this because 60 minutes, six of you. Let me start straight away first. You can call it my doubting Tom or just a little simple critique. ESG, let's focus on planet first in simple terms, sustainability. Is there something really happening? You know, my ex-boss used to say, a lyric does not make a song. Are we really writing a song right now? Or when will this song become complete? Because there are a lot of small stories. Is it just the window dressing going on? Or there's some real juice behind it, whatever is happening in our hotels? Anybody can pick up this. We can go one by one, start sharing your views, and then we'll get on to something else.
I can start. Yeah, it's first of
Go
all.
ahead, go ahead.
Yeah.
First of all, welcome to Mumbai, Rajiv, and Nitesh. Welcome to Mumbai. Rajiv moved from Fairmont, Jaipur, and Nitesh moved from Jakarta to Four Seasons. So welcome. The others are seasoned ones within Mumbai market, so that's okay, right?
Oh, great, and it's great to be here in Mumbai. I've been here a week plus now, and I go to this beautiful hotel next to us. We're building Fairmont. I'm very privileged to be part of going into story of absolutely ESG into hotel, which is just building up for next maybe 100 years to go. When we started our career, this word and sustainability was never there, right? But now to the roots, in the design element of this hotel, what we're building, every aspect from electricity to water to garbage disposal to going to details where even for kitchen, we are not even bringing a gas or LPG or coal into that. Almost 90% of our kitchen utilization will be based on electricity based. So it's a very forward vision what we're doing into the industry from a technology point of view. I'm very grateful to the ownership having that mindset to put in place. Of course, it's big investment which goes at the starting point, but from a running point of view, it definitely pays off in terms of what we're doing for the whole generations to come. So this is just an insight I'm going to give to start the discussion.
Thanks, Rajiv. And bonsoir, namaskar, everyone. I'm Manish from Sofitel Mumbai, BKC. Thanks, Bibor and ITV for organizing this evening, and Kunal, you and your team. Thank you so much. I think for all of us, now that we've been in the industry for so long, and there is so much which is available on the internet, there's so much which is available, but still for us, know that as hotels and hospitality industry, we now are inching towards beyond 10% of the global greenhouse gas emissions. So we have a big responsibility there. We deal with food industry. We know that pretty much everybody speaks about it, but when it comes to waste, food is on top of the chart, taking more than 45% of the wastage share. I think then comes paper, close to 20. Probably I would then say plastic, close to 15, and then metal and so on. For us as hospitality industry, I think for us, we have a couple of main factors to consider. One is we offer stays, experiential stays, and this starts right from the designing stage to probably eco designs implemented, probably like how Rajiv is now working on, probably what Vivek went through a couple of months ago before his hotel opened. So they have a lot of opportunities there. But equally, I think all of us who manage running hotels, we too have equal opportunities to do our best and adopt to many great practices that is available for us. And I think every step taken towards sustainability only speaks for a better tomorrow. And we have a bigger reasons there. I think when it comes to probably eat, we all know that there is a lot of wastage going there. Almost 1/3 of the food generated goes as waste. So there are so many initiatives which are available for us to now measure the waste, take considerable steps to put our best foot forward and reduce the food wastage across, knowing that there is so much that is happening. And I think if I have to just give you another number, probably we cater to more than 200 million plus meals. That's a very large number for us. And obviously, people, it's no more that we speak of only diversity. It is beyond that. It is now about speaking for wellness. And I think overall, it's no more just a discussion or a stigma. We have a considerable role to play. And I think all of us are taking some great amount of steps. And there are many initiatives that probably some of us will have the opportunity to speak here, Jatin. But I think it is definitely a need. And doing enough or just enough is no more enough for us. And not doing anything with so much information available is definitely a huge cause of concern for probably a tomorrow that we are looking at. So I think it's very important. Bhagwan, you wanted to say?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bhagwan Balani. Thank you, Jatin, for giving us this lovely question forward. At ITC Hotels, responsible luxury is what we have been thriving with for more than nearly two decades now. We have been building on that area, right from building hotels, where we talk about LEED certification, to operating and managing hotels. We've got 12 plus hotels who are the world's first in terms of getting LEED Platinum. And now we also have hotels which are LEED Zero. And 3 of our hotels, again, world's first, who've got LEED Zero water. So that's where we are working towards. Having touched upon water, we are also working on a project with in our 2 hotels, wherein we are transforming the atmospheric air into water. That's the next step that we're working towards. Having said this, there are many other elements that we work upon, right from the solid waste. We have biogas. We work with organic waste converters, I think, which is across today and across all hotels. We work with Shunya Aqua, zero of the plastic across the hotels. When we say Shunya Aqua, it is 0 mile water, which we have been doing it for several years now. And with that also, we do see a lot of positive energy coming across from the guests, wanting to know how we have been doing this. Of course, many hotels have today followed that water bottles too, and we have been thriving towards. So every step that we work on, there's a lot of research which goes on to it, a lot of time, energy which is put into it. I wouldn't shy away from saying this, that across the company for us, we work upon innovations. Every week, we brainstorm together as a team and come across with some aspects that how can we touch upon a guest? How can we touch upon a profitability? How can we contribute towards nation? How can we contribute towards environment? And these are the elements which all our hotels do. And we share these practices internally.
So thanks, Jatin. To answer your question about ESG, at Four Seasons, it's serious business, and it's actually called the Four Seasons for Good program, which is based on the very simple premise of the golden rule with which we operate is to leave the place in a much better way than you found it. Couple of years ago, when we all started the water plant business, right, and we all must have been involved. And to give you a perspective, 6 hotels together, I think rough estimates, you'll be saving about easily 20 million plastic bottles a year. Now, all that is done is said is good, but now we got to look at thinking the water that goes in the bottles, is that being treated properly? Is that being respected? The amount of water we waste with plants not being efficient is a different story altogether. But I think for us at Four Seasons, besides looking after the environment, which is very, very important, the people part is equally important. Diversity and inclusion has taken a brand new meaning. And it's not just a monthly activity where we meet once a month, but it's actually departments being created, and they have full-fledged roles of getting this going. While we all have plans, it's important that we start putting a metric to it. How much carbon footprint are we able to save at the end of the year? Are we really being able to save electricity units? We all know that last couple of days, the huge water shortage in Mumbai. And as responsible hoteliers, corporates, can we do more in helping the society that we operate in? So yes, ESG is here to stay. It needs to take a more definitive meaning. I think hotels really can work together in, just like we did with the water plant business. There is so much more that we can do it. Cooking oil is a big waste area. Food waste is massive. Uh, Improving the life of the people who work around us. Hiring people not from hotel schools, but from underprivileged places. That again is a very important part for us when we talk about ESG here. Kunal.
Thank you.
Kunal, you want to go ahead?
You want to go ahead?
Please.
Well, I've already run out of ideas of what I had to say, considering I've heard everything that we probably could have thought of. So let me come back to the question. Is it really fluff or is it happening? In 2010, probably we read a survey by Preferred, which that ultra luxury travel segment, and almost 80% people said, customers, our paying customers said, we care about ESG, right? And the second question which was there, would you pay for a differential amount for all your care? The answer was no, right? A very small majority of only 10% people said, I would put my money where my mouth is. Has that number changed? Yes, but I don't think it's changed too much. When I say this, I mean from a paying customer point of view. He expects you to do the right thing, and he's not willing to pay you extra for that. Have today more and more corporates become responsible, and I think it's a function of governance. Governance has become more active. Yes, it has happened because of the radical few who stood and protested for climate change. The climate change is being taken up seriously, and government is going to drive that down. Will we comply? Yes. Some will comply later, some will comply before time. I think we are all going to comply. Governance is going to be the big change. It's already here. We feel the heat. We feel that's coming. Luckily, some companies are progressive. They are ahead of the curve. Some will follow soon. On social bit, I think in India, and I would break that down between which country we work in. In India, I think social is a need. We have a lot of manpower. We don't have the skill, and we would like to contribute. And hence, you will see a lot of companies around who have on their portfolio a lot of skill development mentioned. Because in a way, by helping the society, we are helping ourselves. And that's a perfectly fair relationship, I feel. On environment, it's going to be a more welcome consequence. And I think the generation we are not talking about is the alpha, where my kid belongs from. They are the ones who are going to come and really look at the site and choose, because there are options. They will choose not to go with somebody who does not care for environment. And that's a very long journey. And if we don't prepare for it now, you probably can't be ready for it in 2 years. That would probably be my answer on it.
No, so if I have to speak about, I will go back to maybe some words from our founder. Jamshedji Tata said that community cannot be the only stakeholder. Is the very purpose of why are we doing the business. And I think that's why I waited for the last to speak, because if I start speaking on this topic and how IHCL as a company thinks about, ESG is in itself the purpose of doing this business. I don't really want to talk about the 6 pillars of Pathya and go in that direction. But I would like to tell everybody that I represent a new hotel, which is called Taj the Trees, and it's in Vikhroli. And we are very fortunate to have a partner in Godrej Properties who actually have the same philosophy and the same purpose to run the business. And the unique thing is that while this hotel was started as a greenfield project in year 2017-18, they were really wanting to make this hotel a completely sustainable hotel. Fast forward year 2023, the hotel is built. We launched it in September. And I'm very proud to say that we are a IGBC Platinum certified hotel till year 2026. And I think I'll start from there and then maybe pick up more questions while it comes.
Awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to let go of my mic now because I need to control this. Otherwise, we probably will not be able to cover some of the other questions. I'm going to ask you in quick yes or no, and then we'll go to the audience as well. We've got a lot of our general manager colleagues sitting over here. Simple yes or no. From my early memories, probably 2000 or 2001, linen reuse program. We're talking about ESG, water, everything. Quick yes or no. We can start from you, Vivek. Does the linen reuse program really work in hotels? Yes or no?
I would say yes.
Okay, great. We'll stick there. Rajiv, yes or no? No. Okay. Nitesh?
Only at 1.5% utilization, no.
So no. All right, Kunal? Yes. All right. Yes, Manish?
I would say yes again.
So we've got quite a lot of yes over here, and we've got 2 no. Okay, so let me now stick to no's. Why does it not work, and what can we do to make it work? First of all, let me give you my answer as well, so that I can put some weight behind the no ones. I don't think it works, but I'll let Rajiv and Nitesh talk first, and then we can probably talk more. Please.
You know, this program was designed for guests to, from our teams to educate them. If you're staying as a 2 nights, 3 nights, and you don't want to change your linen, contribute towards not washing every day. And we used to put some literature or some kind of gimmick so that we educate. And with such a turnover of hotels, employees all around, I think so it has a little bit not gone into the right way. A guest, when it comes to 5-star hotels, in his mind, he already expects, I'm paying for that amount. I want my linen to be changed every day. So you might write whatever you want to write. Still, he will drop his towels down. He will drop his things. So I think so it has, we need to really come out with a different way to take this program to a different league.
I agree with you, Rajiv. When we started, Jatin, this is 2001 to 4, right? When the cards were put, the first response from guests was, I'm paying top dollar, and this is odd. I want it to be fresh and done. The second challenge was the team members, like you pointed over the call, they would drop the linen, but still change it. But over the years, when we changed, now we've gone to bulk amenities, right? 0 complaints. Guests love it. So if it can work for bulk amenities, why not for towels? There are some hotels who flip the game. Instead of asking that you have to do it, they now change linen twice a week, or if you're a 3-night stayer, they'll change it on the first day and then on the last day. And then if you want to opt out, you can put the card on the bed. That is beginning to work rather than giving them the option to choose. So the hotels take the first step forward that I'm going to change it only after 3 days. And if you want it to be done earlier, you can do it earlier. There's a different way of looking at it. So I think it's between now and then, if we rebrand it, repurpose it, be it more efficient, it might work.
Okay, I'm going to put the next question actually to Kunal and Manish, but let me go to the audience. But just raise your hand. Do you really think linen reuse program works in your hotels if you are doing it or executing it? Just raise your hand, yes or yes. How many yes? Only one yes, I could see. 2, 3, 4. And rest are all no? Is that what I can take? So maybe there are a lot more no's over here. So let me come to you, Kunal, and to you, Manish. You know, we said no, and we started from team member training or our associate training, high turnover. And I don't want to talk to Bhagwan or to Vivek because ITC and Taj have got very solid employee base, less turnover, but a lot of international brands feel the heat of, you know, active turnover. How do you make it more successful? Like Nitesh said, 1.5%. What do you think you can do with the associates or your team members to make it more effective? If it is whatever is working and to make it more effective?
I'll answer that by basically saying, what result we get out of a subject matter would depend on either we are applying a rule mindlessly to a group of people. It depends on what segment of hotel I'm in. Whether it's a luxury hotel on a beach resort, then I must make a service change every meal period. If it's a simple business hotel where people are staying for convenience, even if it's a luxury hotel, most business travelers are not going to be wasteful. Second is a matter of choice. Are you giving your customer a matter of choice? Does he want his room approached twice a day when he's not been to his room even once, and do a turn down whether he wants it or not? I think that choice is luxury, right? It's not a matter of whether we get to wash one towel twice or not. Third is, how much sensitivity training do you do down the line? Do people understand it isn't one extra task we do, or is it a matter of that we care and it's going to be helpful? It's just a matter of if I'm hungry and I'm get my meal in a 3-time size bowl, which I can't finish, is it luxury? Or am I going to leave that food wasted with a little bit regret that I could have not wasted this much? So I think it comes from there. I think we need to understand the context of what we are trying to do, see whether our guest needs that service, and apply the right amount of touch there. And that's what luxury is all about, in my view.
So I think, Jatin, first of all, it's very important, and what's relevant to all of us personally, professionally, is about awareness. And awareness comes when you speak about it. I think today we really speak about it, and not just because it's part of our DNA or this is something that we really want to stand out. And that's where it all begins. When you speak about it, when you transform, you bring in some changes, you show them the results of the initiatives that are there in place. I think it brings in that change which is much needed. And I think that's where the entire story begins for all of us. I think we have some great initiatives in place, and I can speak for my hotel because when we first started speaking about a third party certification to kind of, you know, appreciate all the initiatives that we have in place. We were speaking, each one of us have different certification. Probably for us, we were one of the first hotels in India to bring in Green Key certification. Now they are known for certifying hospitality industry and hotels. Now, what does this mean? This means that, again, while there are all the initiatives in place, you start speaking about it. You show them the results. You see that when an initiative is put in place, how is everybody aligned towards that thought process? And I think today, most of us personally, I'm sure each one of us, at least sitting in this room, who work for hotels, who travel across hotels, we are all aware of this and the sensitivity that it holds around. I think, and if it aligns with our thought process, then it's very easy to adopt to any sustainability practices. And I think this is one of them. So even as far as linen is concerned, whether it is a linen change for room or whether it is linen change required for bathroom, if it is a need and somebody wants to really want that change, it will happen. If not, I think everybody understands that today, this is a great step towards a larger perspective of sustainability. And this is just one of them. Today, we're talking about linen in general. Why not look at linen otherwise? Today, the linen that we use, we now recycle it, we reuse it in form of using them as towels for our bathrooms. I mean, paper is now moved. Now, what have you done? You have done another great practice in place, which is reuse and recycle. At the same time, like I mentioned, paper. Paper again accounts for almost 15% of wastage globally. You have now started saving paper. And each one of us, with each baby step taken, we learn more and more. We share some of the best practices. We take a lot of best practices from the industry that we are associated with. And I think there is a lot which is now available for us to learn and grow and adopt to many such best practices to speak for.
Let me come to Bhagwan and Vivek. You know, ITC and Taj, ITC going through a very different phase. You've kind of now gone away from ITC and ITC hotels. You know, you've got your own vision. There's so many forums where Puneet talks about how EBITDA is growing and things are happening. Profits, you know, whatever you are doing, does it put pressure on profits? How do you balance that? And have you ever tried to measure as to how much is going, and is it all kind of going in the right direction, your investments? Or is it all coming out of CapEx, which is why everybody's really talking about it, that we're doing, but the OpEx is really not hurting? Comments on that, Bhagwan and Vivek, one by one.
Okay, I'll start.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Giving an example on, you know, OpEx, what Jatin just said. So when we were opening Taj the Trees, and I'm speaking a lot of examples from my hotel, we had a decision to make where we wanted green energy to run the hotel, but we only had a limited space to maybe get about 2% solar power generated through our rooftop. We took a decision to take green energy from Tata Power, paying an additional amount per unit because we wanted to have green power in our hotel. And I think the time has come where we need to take some decisions which may have a little impact on our OpEx, but keeping how we will have our future in mind in the correct way. I'll also maybe step back a little bit on the example which we were talking about, the linen. I think the part of training our employees is very, very important because they know what we are talking about. Also, the time has come where we have to take a step forward and also start looking at, is there an opportunity to keep our guests informed? I don't want to use the stronger word, educate our guest. Maybe that's not the best forum, but so an initiative which we are working on in our hotel is where we have each guest room put with individual meters for electricity. And a work in progress where we are integrating this meter with the interactive television, and a guest would be able to see live energy consumption on his room television when he enters the room. We're not trying to educate them. We're just trying to tell them, this is what you are consuming while you stay with us in terms of electricity units. A step further, which you can take in future, you can set parameters where if you consume less than a certain number of units, you can incentivize this through some loyalty points or some other matters, which also completes the cycle of how a guest gets benefited by it.
Wow, I love the idea of instant gratification. Not that you'll take me on a guilt trip if I'm consuming more electricity, but I love the idea of instant gratification. Bhagwan, over to you.
So in terms of saving energy, my first one would be we work with green energy. We have our own windmills. We have properties who have their own solar plants also. Like if I talk about RDC Maratha, we get all our electricity coming in from the windmill, so it's set off there. Talking about the water, we recycle water, our wet waste, we put it into the biogas. The biogas plant that we have, with that, we fire our cafeteria kitchen. Plus, there is the biogas also powering my laundry machines. So if I look at it, overall perspective, there is clearly savings coming in. Of course, there was long back that we shifted to LEDs. They are paying out for us. I am proud enough to say this today, that a guest who's staying with us is producing zero carbon footprint. And we are proud enough sharing that in a certificate form to the guest. A guest who is doing a banquet event with us is being given out a zero carbon footprint certification from the hotel end, because they are producing zero carbon footprint while they do the event with us.
And would you be taking Bonvoy, giving Bonvoy points extra now to your customers, zero carbon footprint, as Vivek was saying? Just joking.
No.
Let me come to Kunal, Nitesh, and Rajiv on this. Kunal, you touched upon a point about guest and guest asking for it, not ready to pay more for it. Rajiv, you moved into a heavy corporate market coming out of Jaipur. Nitesh, you've been in corporate world for long. RFPs, guest, companies asking you for carbon footprints. Give me some examples if you think that when you put that fill in the blank column, it really gets you an edge over your competition, or you're able to grab business or something like that. Some examples if you have.
Jatin,
Does it work? First of all, does it work?
It works. A couple of years back, I remember Nestle gave us a huge query, and the only reason we won that business was because we were plastic free. At least we promised them that event would be plastic free. What's happening in Asia right now? Imagine a consulting firm, the big four. Now they are in the consulting business. They turn over billions of dollars. They're not really into manufacturing, so there is no opportunity for them to save carbon footprint and carbon credits. So it is now becoming mandatory in a few countries that by the end of the year, you have to save your carbon footprint in the form of carbon credits. It has become mandated as a government notification. Singapore's done it. Malaysia is very close to it. In that scenario, a company like, let's say, a big consulting firm will be mandated to buy products in which they can get a certificate like what Bhagwan is doing, or be proven that, by doing this, I get certain carbon credits. Interestingly, there are firms now which act like mediators. They buy carbon credits from hotels and sell it to people who can't show it. So I think the future for us is bright, that once it becomes mandated in this country, and hotels have already done so much work, and if we were to put a proper structure to it, record it, prove that your customer journeys staying at a Four Seasons or any other hotel would save you X number of points into the number of room nights, it's going to be very easy. But RFPs, yes, there are specific sections on sustainability which we have to fill out, which are then audited by a third party. So it's very much here to stay.
Okay, good to know. Rajiv?
Again, the hotel, what we are making, it's going to be a real icon for Mumbai. We are coming with 446 keys right at the airport. One of the biggest, I can tell you, in a five-star hotel, ballroom and banqueting facilities, what we're coming in. And these are all been designed keeping in mind those corporates, those big RSPs which is coming in. I've been here less than a week. I'm meeting a lot of corporates, and I'm going and talking about it. One of the unique things what we're going to bring to our huge banqueting with the 21,000 square feet is we don't want to serve buffets. We are going everything live. Just imagine your all-day dinings with live kitchens. That's what the banqueting we are going to bring to our hotel. We want to make it more theater. We want to make it more fun in front of the guest. Same time, saving food waste, right? Buffets, everything is going. You should see at 2 o'clock in the morning what happens in most of the garbage rooms in our hotels.
You already budgeted your food costs for next year?
So I think so. There are a lot of initiatives what we are going to do at Fairmont Mumbai to bring right stories for right corporates to use our hotels in terms of rooms, in terms of EV vehicles. We got a huge parking of 700 cars. So a lot of right programming has been thought, keeping in mind the ESG and right partnership with all the corporates.
Great, thank you. Kunal, you're in a heavy corporate market.
Yes. So is corporate RFP is going to drive the way with ESG? Yes, 100%. That is not because the corporates like it. The fact of the matter is your all reports, CBRE says every change that is coming because your investors want to see it on their report. So anything that is going to be driven down from ownership because their companies are listed is going to be a reality. So yes, corporates will want carbon credits. Are we all there? Yes. I think a lot of it has got to do with governance and whether we are buying the right thing at the right time. I'll give you an example. We are talking about Tata Power or Adani Power or whatever power. Maharashtra laws allows us to tap into green power, right? In certain states in India, I can own a windmill. So I can capex the windmill, which means my power is free, right? And I can sell it back to the government. We spend 8 crores on many capex in a year. Most of our ownership will be happy to buy a windmill for us. It doesn't cost much to run it. Depends on the state regulation. So for the timing till we can't own a windmill and provide power back to the government, sure, we must utilize the best green source available. If our electricity today, even 40% is coming through coal, no matter how much a la carte cooking we do, we are not going to actually help the environment, right? And that's the reality of life. Some of the initiatives we are running behind without thinking is not necessarily, in my view, the best saving, right? Nitesh was probably the first one who many years back told me, go for this plastic bottle replacement. And he said, not the right time. That same capex reduced by half the price by the time we installed it, right? Water wastage in a bottling plant is 60%. Is Bangalore struggling with water? Is it really fair to waste 60% of the water down the drain? It's my question to the fact that, but yeah, I can say I'm not wasting plastic. Can I recycle plastic? Somewhere that sensibility needs to prevail. Does Bangalore have a plastic recycling unit? Maybe that makes more sense than just dumping one-time use plastic in.
Great, thank you. I'm going to come to something very interesting because you touched upon sustainability index. You touched upon measuring. We're talking about initiatives. We both started by saying Nattu and team feels we don't talk much about ESG. 2 words, pick one, all 6 of you. ESG or your sustainability practices, have they started turning into KPIs for your key HODs? Or they're still initiative phase? It's a very simple question, but it could be tricky also because you have to drive the performance. So whatever you pick, then we can probably talk more.
So I'll start because I have the mic.
And you're the host as well, so you can.
For Marriott this year. And it's a very wonderful thing. Marriott did a lot on ESG. A lot of initiatives that we hear on the stage are being done for many years. But it's each one to yours, right? Whatever we felt more passionately towards, we drove. This year for Marriott, and it's a big chain like Marriott, right? The moment it starts putting pressure onto a KPI and the whole machinery turns towards it, you see amazing results which have never been seen before. So this year, for me and my entire team, it's a part of KPIs in a very, very structured and reportable and auditable manner. So today, this year, it's not accountable for, which means it doesn't affect, but it starts to document a scope 1 recording. Luckily, I work for Chalet, so I'm at scope 2 already. So we are way ahead. But then what starts to happen each year is the progress you see from here on with large companies turning is going to be tremendous. So yes, it's part of KPI.
So Kunal, don't go away. Just for everybody's information, enlighten us. How do you measure your KPI? What is it? Balance scorecard? Okay, now, because I've worked with Marriott for 15 years, so I can probably say balance scorecard, but that's your KPI format or your MBOs. So how do you measure?
So you're talking about sustainability only?
Yeah, whatever you are saying that it has come for the first time now.
So, okay, majorly 4-5 major heads which are going to be touched. It's your, what you call as revenue generated per unit of electricity consumed, right? Are you bringing each year your units down? And I am well aware that's a way to, you can increase your revenue to bring the units down, but both factors are being measured, right? Your water efficiency is being measured. So what starts to happen is once you have your benchmark year established, each year you are improving upon that water efficiency. It's not about just uh, making 2 more bore wells and just extracting water from the ground. You're being used benchmarked on your consumption. Then it'll go into sustainable produce. Are you sourcing sustainable fish products? Are you getting free range poultry? Are you being responsible? Eventually, everything is more from the olden days, right?
Okay.
How much footprint you leave behind. So there are 8, 9 criteria which join together to give me my rating in the year. And I've got to work on all aspects to ensure my hotel is progressing ahead.
Okay, Manish, initiatives or KPIs?
So I would say KPIs, because at the end of the day, when you have a KPI or a goal in place, you would want to do a lot more than what otherwise you would do. And that's where the initiatives comes into play. But yes, for us at Accor, I would say not just now. I think it's been part of our KPIs for the last 11 years that I've been part of. But every time the measurable initiatives change, right? To give you a simple example, how do we do better than what we were doing before? Now, obviously, some of us have the luxury of probably opening a new hotel. So there would be a lot more great practices already in place, either in form of design or some new technology that helps and supports. Or it could be a hotel like mine, which is now completing 12 years of its magnific journey. So obviously, everything won't come in that easy. There will have to be some great practices put together. And for that, there is a goal which is required. And we do it for not just for GM, but all our leadership teams. And very soon it will move down the line as well. And how do we measure it? In simple example, if I have to tell you about what do we do to save energy? Of course, we know what was our consumption last year. We put a target in place that if you have consumed X, the target this year is to reduce by 10%. Now, what do you want to do? And that's where all of us as leadership teams together, we have our committees of ESG in place together, where we all come together, we brainstorm, we see what can we do to make sure that that number is achieved. And sometimes you have the answer there and sometimes it's not. But then you find a better way to see whether is it possible to do some OPEX investments. And sometimes you go back to your owners who also support you through their CapEx opportunity. And I think it's a great way to find. Now I'll speak about, while I spoke about Green Key, probably we are a hotel where there is a mix of 60-40 in terms of rooms and F&B. So which means we have a lot more reasons to do much more best practices in place. So we were, again, one of the first hotels in India to bring in Vino AI technology. Now, what does that do? It helps you define a baseline. Now, honestly speaking, I didn't know what a baseline would be. I'm sure some of them know, some of them I honestly did not know. But when we started measuring the waste through the Vino AI technology, which not just captures the picture of the waste going into the dustbin, it captures the weight, it tells you how many times during the day it has gone. And in India, we love buffets. And obviously, there is a lot of wastage that comes in. I was surprised to see that per cover, the wastage which was going into the beans was about 350 grams. Now, what do you do with that? Now you have a baseline for yourself, you set a target. So last year was year 1 for us. We were still learning and trying to adopt to this great practice in place. Today, we know that if we were doing, let's say, 325 grams per cover wastage, we put a target for us saying that, okay, let's bring it down to 275. But thankfully, the team has really done a wonderful job. And from 275 as the baseline, we are now somewhere around 215, 225 grams per cover. And that's a fantastic achievement. And this converts not just into wastage reduction, but look at the revenue loss, or probably not revenue loss, but I would say cost, which we are able to bring into play. Let's look at people. What do we speak about people? Again, it's part of ESG and it will come there. So I think it is required. You need to have a goal because you know that you have to deliver and you have to make sure that you adopt to some great practices. And those great practices become initiatives for many others to lead from.
So Bhagwan, KPI or initiative? Your job, your performance appraisal, your increment, your performance bonus, rest on it. KPI or initiative?
It's already a KPI. It has been in existence for some time. It's just getting strengthened further and further by every passing year.
So Jatin's KPI at Four Seasons for myself and my planning committee is very clear. Reduce energy cost by 2%, reduce our entire carbon consumption by 4%, and water, the amount of water that we buy and liters Bombay to buy water, right, by about 3.5%. It's very defined. There's an external auditor who comes and measures the consumption, gives me a report every single month. So you have to work on it. I'll give an example how it helps, right? When we open air, a rooftop bar, stunning place, and it's got a beautiful retractable roof. The amount of heat that we're losing because of air conditioning was too much. Because it's going to be a bad score, we actually end up changing the glass. So it's now, uses the same tech what BMW uses in the cars, reflective. So we don't use that much heat. So there is alternatives available. And of course, when you measure it, things start happening. So for us, it's KPIs.
On a lighter note, you spend on CapEx to have a better appraisal.
The ownership actually did that,
Well,
right? Once
Rajiv,
we
you're on
shared
a
that-
pre-opening phase. KPI or initiative in your previous hotel?
But, you know, I can give you example of Jaipur, and like Accor, it's a part of our culture. It's definitely KPI. We got a online worldwide program known as Gaia. Every engineer and also the committee, they've got goals. On weekly, monthly basis, we have to update the dashboard. We have to review it. If it's working well, then continue. If it's not, then come with smart plans to reduce it. So end of the year, what's get measured gets done. So it's definitely KPI.
Absolutely great. Vivek?
No problem. So definitely KPI. I see actually new things getting added to it with each year passing by. So we are a little bit, we've already told the world what we're going to achieve in 2025 as our Pathya goals. We're already setting targets, going out through our, communication, telling the entire world we want to achieve in 2030. That's already outlined out there in the public to see. For us, we're focusing currently on, of course, the electricity, the water, the gender diversity. How do we bring more people with different needs into the system? But being in the top 1,000 listed companies by market cap in India, you are supposed to report all your ESG data, and that gets audited. How efficiently you are measuring these initiatives and reporting that data correctly is also what is going to come into our KPIs soon. Because currently what we see with each different hotel, the way you measure these data can vary. And I think that's what currently is getting streamlined at our level in the hotels.
Awesome. Thank you. And my reason for asking this was I think this is one of the things which has really changed post-COVID, I would say. I think pre-COVID, we were a lot into initiatives and everybody was doing bits and pieces. So I think that's one good thing. I'm going to give 30 seconds to all of you, and I'll start from you, Vivek. And this may end up being our last question. ESG, what is more important for you and why? Don't give me Taj philosophy. Give me what do you think as a leader?
I personally think they're not above each other. They are actually, if you talk about E and S, they are the two pillars which get helped by the governance. So I would keep them at par with each other. And that's how we would like to take this forward, not one over the other. And at a company level, if you look at what we are doing, again, I am coming back to, it really can't help it. But we have these 6 pillars where we talk about each pillar in equal sense. Whether we have these 32 centers across geography where we are skilling people, or we talking about our association with UNESCO on, intangible cultural heritage, creating something like a Ganga Aarti in Varanasi, where I was before this coming to Mumbai, a thought which came 20 years back of how we could keep these ghats clean and have a heritage which can be taken forward. And now partnering after COVID with UNESCO to the same cause has kept that legacy going.
Your answer on ESG was simple to my question, am I looking fat? And you went around that, but that's okay. We'll go to Rajiv.
Yeah. For me, the most important out of 3 is S, right? Being social. It's the people, end of the day, which will make a difference and bring for the environment, for governance, both trainings, education, information, right talents, diversification in every aspect. So I will go for social.
Great, thank you. Nitesh?
So Jatin, at Four Seasons, our program is called Four Seasons for Good. And it actually has people as a specific area that we focus on. And that's something which is very close to my heart as well. Focusing on diversity and inclusion, getting people to get more involved, and doing a lot more for the communities around us. Cancer research, we had the Telefox run just now. There's lots more we can do on the things. For me, it's the people part which is more important. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Kunal?
Yeah, for me, governance as a professional, I need to ensure that is in check and we are doing the right thing there, from regulations, from whatever we need to do. And personally, I really care about the social bit, right? And I'll give you one example of what I saw, which is not in APAC India, but in Middle East that I saw. There was a huge campaign that Etihad and Marriott did together, which is about planting about 12,000 mangroves. And I really felt that that's going to make a difference. Mangrove produce more oxygen, it's going to help the weather, selflessly done, donating time. It's not me just paying lakhs of rupees to somebody who say plant 12,000. And I think that's the real true way to do ESG for me.
Thank you. Bhagwan?
For me personally, it's social. And if I look at in my company, diversity, inclusion, we are even taking on board LGBTQI+. We got gender neutral facilities for our associates in the hotel. With the social being the primary driver, environment is something that goes along, and the governance, of course, falls in place.
Thank you. Manish?
For me, Jatin, it actually aligns with my personality the way I am. And I'm glad that at a core, we also live professionally and we do so many things which I can really speak of and be proud of. But yes, if you ask me today as the role that I'm playing, and I go with Kunal, governance. Governance is very important for us because sooner or later, a lot of them will also become part of the regulatory norms. And I think that is where it's good that we are doing so much, but it's not enough. And I think there is so much more to do, all of us. And I think even if it is 6 of us sitting here as general managers, probably each one of us represents a minimum of probably 300 to 400, ambassadors and team members that we represent. And I think if one thing done rightly, I think the message passes across so many of us, and then that's professional, and then personally you carry it home as well, and you tend to practice many things which otherwise you would have not done. So I think for me, governance.
Awesome, great, thank you, and time's up. Awesome, thanks a lot. Thank you. That was us for last 60 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the session, gentlemen. May I request you to stay back on the stage, please? Sir, may I request you to stay back, please? Thank you so much. To extend our appreciation to our panelists for their invaluable insights, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Mukesh Vashisht Howell and Mr. Shankar De Dorma Kaba. Thank you so much, gentlemen. May I have a huge round of applause for all these gentlemen, please? Thank you so much. Moving forward, our next session explores the concept of profit with purpose, decoding the Indian equation. I'm honored to call on stage distinguished panelists to grace the stage. Mr. Nitin Chatwal, Managing Director, STEM Infrastructure. Mr. Rajneesh Malhotra, COO, Charlotte Hotels Limited. Mr. Ronak Desai, Director, Rupa Group. Ms. Sanaya Srivastava, Director, Rockland Hotels. Mr. Suhail Kanampalli, CEO, Concept Hospitality. Mr. Sanjay Sharma, SVP and MD India and Southwest Asia, Hyatt Hotels Corporation. And our respected session moderator, Mr. Vijay Thakur, Managing Director, Horwath HTL.
Good evening, everybody. And they want this to end. We're done. Actually, if we are done now, we would sort of be catching up on time. And this is not a criticism. It's at least between 3 or 4 of the panelists, we've discussed this. I think if we talk about ESG, the S part of it, social part of it, as an industry, we also have a responsibility for timeliness. If we are 150 people in the room into 45 minutes of delay, that's a lot of man hours lost. And as an industry, I think we should make the commitment to make sure that we stay on time. Again, this is not a criticism of the host. The host cannot do anything if people don't show up on time. But I just think that as an industry, and I think at least there are some panelists here who would agree with me on that, and maybe others who I haven't spoken to. But having said that, that's sort of a negative note, if you might. Let's change tack, and I'm going to give each of you a minute, 2 minutes, whatever couple sentences that you need. Tell me what ESG means to you. Sohail, I'll begin with you.
So growing up, ESG, the environment bit of ESG has played a huge part in my life because my mother's been an advocate for environment. She's planted 100+ trees herself. I've gotten involved in it since childhood. So it's a huge part of the organization. It's the huge part of how we founded the organization, how we built the organization. And I think it's our core belief. So.
For me to explain, for ESG is like a natural fit into the hotel industry. The more you do, the more profit you make. It's a very simple explanation, what I understand. Environment you take care, the less electricity use, the less water use, the less wastage, you make money. On the social side, the more the training, hotel is a cultural pot where people mix. It's a happy space. So it creates a social environment. So the more you do, the better it is. On the governance part of this, without good governance, good properties cannot work. So every aspect of ESG, for my understanding, brings more profit.
So we'll come back to that, but you're looking at it as a business aspect of it, which is very good. Sanya, what about you? Let's change order.
So I feel ESG is a very, see, we are a huge industry. Tourism industry, hospitality industry is huge. And I feel we have a huge responsibility towards the environment, towards the ecosystem. I've been saying this, that COVID came, such a small virus, changed everything for us. And especially it had a very big, huge hit on tourism and hospitality industry. So I feel that it is high time that we become conscious as an industry. And for me, I think all three aspects are equally important. And I feel as a responsible citizen, as a responsible owner of hotels, I feel that implementing this and seriously implementing this in core strategies, I think it's very important. So all of them are important. And definitely in long run, it will get us good numbers. There is no question about it. But it's going to take some time. Yeah.
So I like to simplify things. Don't like too much of complications in life. I think the simple definition, what it means to me, or as a human being, is to basically fulfilling today's needs without compromising on or depleting resources of the future or for the future. That's what is a very simple statement. But for me, if you talk about ESG, I think it is more, it's personal. It is about moral responsibility we have to our future generations. What are we leaving for them? So rest you can cover with E, S, G, A, B, C, D. I think I like simple things in life, and I would like to define it this way.
You have strong guiding principles, and that takes you forward. Ronak, what about you?
So so for me, ESG is simply being the need of the hour, so this was never been around in the past years. And, lately, this has become like a buzzword across various industries. But again, for us and the management in our hotels, it's more about implementing the practices of, when you break down the environmental, social, and governance aspects of it. And, we had a lot of talk from institutions and corporates on ESG. These are large corporates, institutions who have the framework, who have the bandwidth, who have the corporate structure to implement such initiatives. These corporates also contribute to our nation's economy to a large extent. I represent first-time ownership, first-time owners, maybe owners who are do not have hotel as their main line of business. So for us, ESG is pretty new, and we would rather be more dependable on our operators to, guide us through about what initiatives are impeccable in today's world.
I'm going to come back to you and to Nitin separately, but let's finish this with you.
I'll answer this on behalf of Chalet, and then since you asked what it means to you.
I've asked this for you, not for
no, but I represent Chalet and the hotel. This hotel is from Chalet. So I'll take a very quick minute to explain what it means to Chalet. ESG is part of our vision statement. Sustainability is ingrained into our vision statement itself of the company, which speaks volumes. We were the first hotel company globally to sign up for COP26 3 environmental initiatives, the EP100, the EV100, and the EP, EV, and RE, Renewable Energy 100. We were the first company globally, hotel company, to sign that. We were the first Indian hotel company to be listed on the Dow Jones Sustainability Index. We were at 31 2 years back. We are at 57, which is an 84% improvement in the score over 2 years. So these two are statistics which speaks volumes. Rest, you can log into chalet.com and read about what we do. What it means to me, I'll simplify it. In the past 50, 70 years, the Earth's population has gone up from 2.5 billion people to 8 billion. That's statistic. Another statistic is, which I don't have the statistic, but I have a question for everybody else. How many new rivers have come up? How many new mountains have we seen? How many more forests have come up in the past 50 years? I think the answer is 0. So to balance the two, everything that we do will fall into the category of ESG to bring the balance into the two.
At least the E part, if not the S and G.
The S and G follow. If there is no E, where will the S live? And who will the G govern? So,
yeah,
right.
Yeah. Ronak, you're a first-time owner, so I fully understand that, but you've also got other businesses. And maybe I got it wrong, but you seem to talk about it from an implementation of a regulation or something which is now the current thing to be done. What is the inner conviction around ESG? Because to me, if there is no inner conviction on ESG, it will be done as a tick the box to meet the compliance needs, to meet the regulatory needs. So how do you propose to imbibe that into your group, not just yourself?
So when I say, I mean, of course, we've been a first-time owner and now signed one more hotel just last week, but that what I imply by saying that we need more support from the operators in a way that in our line of business, we are into commercial real estate predominantly. So over there, sustainability, green building certifications have always been there. So so in fact, even our hotel in Navi Mumbai, we use 625 kilowatt from on-site renewable energy through a rooftop solar plant. So the conviction has always been there. So, it's never gone anywhere, but it's in our line of business. So when I talk about operator support, let's say we've got an operator running 5 management hotels in Navi Mumbai. I would rather be happy to take an initiative of the operator investing in a solar farm, let's say somewhere in Maharashtra, invest that particular capex because the break even is less than 3.5 years, and the operator has the bandwidth to do that, and all of those 5 hotels buy green power from that solar farm. So you have captive audience, you have captive customer, and it helps the operator and the ownership as well. So that was my thought process, wherein the operator takes active involvement closely with not the institutions and corporates, but this couple of hotel owners or one first-time hotel owners.
Nitin, you made an important point, and I think it's critical to discuss that. How much of ESG activity today is driven by either compliance or by the profitability?
See, the first word I said was that ESG is a natural fit into a hotel business.
Yes.
The reason for you.
Sorry, I just want to clarify. I'm not criticizing. I just wanted to take that discussion forward, that investment aspects and return on investments are equally critical elements of ESG. But let's hear that more from you.
See, anybody who's investing money into business wants returns. And when something helps you to get returns better, it's always more easier to do that. That's the reason I started explaining it that way. That if you do things like what we have done while putting up a new hotel, that every aspect of saving power, every aspect of saving water, every aspect of saving wastage. So these are small things which can be inbuilt when you are designing a new property. And when you're doing that, how much cost extra is spent and what you save is the maths you do always. But what I have seen, you save much more. The payback period is much shorter. And it is more of being on that thought structure that you have to do it, and gives you the opportunity. You can find the way, because today advancement is there. With the way electronics has moved from AI, advancement is so much that saving of power, water systems are available. So if you implement those or imbibe with these, today we can build a hotel which has almost everything compliant on all three aspects of ESG.
Fantastic. So effectively, the message is that if you are building or you're doing a major renovation, look at this not just as a compliance aspect, do it smart. You can actually support your investment and get values from that. And I think that is an important message. And my question would be, besides the fact that it helps your bottom line and therefore gives you a better EBITDA and therefore a higher value, the fact that you are strong on ESG, does that add to your valuation?
See, I'll give you a small example. We are going to start our property end of this year. But before start, as we are only one single property, we started a small initiative for skill training. It is a requirement of Bombay today because lower category staff availability is not there. So once we started that initiative, we saw that a lot of requirement is there for people to learn, to be able to do those small jobs. And this automatically is helping us create that manpower pool, what we would also require tomorrow. So looking for opportunities, you find them.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. On the valuation aspect, anybody wants to come in? I mean, does it add to your valuations as a factor, not just the financial results?
See, I just mentioned the DJSI. Their index is created to not rank, but score companies on their commitment and actions on ESG. The very fact that people look at that index, many investors and funds, etc., would look at the score on that index to put in their funds. So that means, obviously, the companies which score high could attract more investment, which drives up the valuation, I guess.
Yes,
So, of course, they are linked.
Access to money is easier
Absolutely.
if you are compliant.
And it's going to become easier, even not easier. Let me rephrase it. It's going to become even more important as focus shifts. You heard so many of us, we're having a conference on this. It never happened 10 years back on ESG, right? So it's going to become more and more important, and thus the valuation goes up. Yeah.
In fact, I think, please go ahead. No, I'll make my point later.
So definitely, I feel I would like to add on this. When you talk about valuation, definitely ESG, caring more about the environment, is definitely going to attract investors for the company. It's not only going to get that. We'll also have, because we are all moving towards being more environmental friendly. People are being more conscious. Even the travelers are being more conscious, ESG conscious. So they are also going to be choosing the brands that they have a framework and they're keeping these values in mind. So definitely, like it was mentioned in the previous session, that the next generation is the alpha generation who's going to be using. And you already see when you interact with them, they're so conscious about the environment. So it is a holistic thing. I feel investors, customer loyalty, employees, retention will also happen because they'll be like, oh, this is a ESG compliant, or they follow these norms. They have this in their core value system. So people would want to stick around with such companies. And the social aspect of it. For example, so I'll give you an example of this company that is in Rudrapur, since my hotel is there in north of India. There's a Titan factory that has 90% of women workers. So 90% in a factory setup is a very, very huge number, and they're setting an example. So this is like, you have to see women equality. You have to see LGBT, and, we are discussing about it. And also, especially abled. Elementary is doing a great job. I've been following them, and I'm seeing that they are hiring specially abled staff. Obviously, initially, every hotel or every industry, I mean, people will think that it's going to increase your work. There's going to be a lot of, manpower requirement because they are not trained, they're not skilled in that way. But at the end of the day, you're getting that loyalty. You're getting their sincerity, they're getting their commitment, and it is setting a culture for the whole organization. And people see, if they care about these things, they care about social, they'll care about us. So they would want to be associated with such brands. So I feel that everything, valuation is a holistic thing. So I feel investors, like I said, customers and employees, everything, the brand reputation goes up.
Yeah, the soft value add will be very significant. And I can also say that today there are lenders who are starting to look at the ESG quotient of the borrowers. And the time is not far when your interest rate will change. In fact, it has already started happening in some degree, but your interest rate will be lower or higher. And if you are strong on ESG, you could probably get that 0.25% cheaper money than you will have got otherwise. So you're smiling at that. You raised some money on ESG friendly stuff, it looks like.
Actually, we've never raised money with that ESG focus, though we do a lot with regards to the ESG. We've never really used that as a direction to raise money. It's always been something that anyone who's invested money in the company at any point has appreciated. But that translating into actual money hasn't seen the light of day yet. But I 100% agree with you. It is the way forward, and it is going to see the light of day very soon.
Yes, it is, and I think we'll come back to various points that Sanya made about the beneficial aspects on the employment side or the social side, and we'll come back to that. Yes.
Vijay, So I have a difference of opinion on how we are approaching it. We are looking at ESG or sustainability as means to get to profits or valuation. Is that the right way to look at it? Because here we are sitting to give back to the environment, and out here we are saying we'll use the environment so that we get profits. I have so I think Nitin made a.
Why can't both happen?
No, I think Nitin made a very good point. Look at his mindset. He's saying, I'm already doing things even before opening the hotel. So I think before we address anything, we need to address the mindsets. I wish we have more owners like him, honestly, because he comes from that. So that's the difference of opinion I have, that we are here saying that, ESG is a means to garner more profit. It's an outcome. It's an outcome. But we need to focus on what we give back to the environment. That will give you an outcome of whether it is profit for now or for future, or our existence, honestly, of our future generations. So I think we need to look at it a little differently. That's my.
Yes and no, in the sense that I totally agree with you that ultimately it has to be a commitment to the environment or to the causes of ESG. At the same time, people are here for business. People are not here for the philanthropy of ESG. And I think this conversation is only helping them understand that if you pursue ESG, you will have more than just the tick the box benefit or the satisfaction of your heart benefit. You will have other benefits as well. And I think that's where the conversation is. I don't think anybody is disagreeing that, at least in my view, and you can express it differently, that if you don't deeply believe on ESG, you will never do anything with that sincerity. It's to do with quality. It's to do with everything else that we do in life. You have to deeply believe in it, whether it starts from point A or point B. But ultimately, if there is not that deep belief, you will never get there. Focus. Yes. There's been a talk about the operator's role. And even the question, how much of this in the industry, and the industry is growing substantially. It's growing in a manner where ownership is not concentrated in any great way. Ownership is fairly diverse. How much of the ESG responsibility rests on the operator, and how much comes from owners other than Nitin? Because he's fully clued up. Maybe Chalet is fully.
I've worked on both sides.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. There's two operators here.
Yeah.
There's yourself from Hyatt. You're operating at a very different level, different scale of operation, Sohail. And then you are working with an operator with a large portfolio. So give us your perspective of how much is driven by operator, how much by the owner.
I think it'll be unfair to divide it. I think everybody is an equal stakeholder in the whole affair. But I think just to give an example, we talk a lot about saving energy to drive profits and ESG, etc. But most of the brand standards, especially by the global brands, are unfortunately or fortunately made in the West, where they're headquartered. And in India, being a tropical country, in fact, I don't know if you know about the recent government thing that you should keep the AC temperature around 23 in the public areas. It's a government advisory right now. Now, in our rooms, the duvet we have, which is dictated by the brand standard, is too thick for India. So inevitably, the guest will feel warm in it, and he will want to reduce the temperature of the AC, and he'll pick up the phone in the night and complain to the bell desk or to the front office. The duty manager will call the engineer, who would lower 2 degrees of the chiller plant. So we need to, so here's something which the operator and the owner need to talk. Owner comes from the perspective, he brings in the perspective of unit per room. We consume around 48 units per room. The moment it goes to 49, we talk to the operator, which is the GM. Now, so at the back of it rests something like this. The towel doesn't have to be 1200 GSM. It was defined by a brand which I worked for earlier, which we lowered it to then 800 GSM, which takes around 30% less water and detergent to wash than a 1200 GSM towel. So these things brands have to think consciously of weaving it into the real. That's how real ESG works. Not replacing a plastic toothbrush with a wooden one. Wooden one will also come from a tree. Instead, the brand should educate the customer, carry your toothbrush from home, avoid that single-use toothbrush in the first place. So we all need to do more.
Thanks, Rajnish.
I just need to add one more thing. Not only the duvet, even the pillow. If it's a duck feather pillow, it's very hot.
And it's $3,200.
So just a statement for both of you. We can have a separate chat after this.
Yeah.
There's something called Hyatt Loves Local and World of Care. So we are we are a bit. We can talk. We can talk.
We should talk
I don't
more
know what
about
hotels you work with, but we have something.
But what he said has a very credible. You have to care about a few things because temperature was an issue, which we discussed with our operator, and they agreed. We are one of the first hotels in a metro which has a fan in the room. Because our customers, Indians, you go to any Indian home, 90% of the people sleep with the fan and an AC. So if my customer is Indian, why can't I have a fan? You are putting a European standard where there is to be chilled weather. You don't need an air conditioner there. Yeah. Today, by getting one fan in the room, you satisfy a customer. You lower the temperature by at least 2 degrees. That 2 degrees is the highest costly effect of air conditioning. That small change goes a long way.
Sure. And that's come from the ownership side.
No, I would say we proposed it, but operator agreed. It is not something that I would say that they did not agree.
Did you ask the operator when it was a -4 degrees temperature that they were in? They would have happily agreed to it.
But it's not,
they agreed, which is more important, I feel.
So it's not versus. It's just that the owner is at a different perch, and the opinion he offers needs to be taken by the brand and done something with, rather than ignore it as a rant by the owner for more profit.
I completely agree with you. It's not one versus the other. It's collaborative. And when it is collaborative, it is the most efficient. So, please, your chance.
So I have a different take on this. Being an operator, primarily an operator, and wearing the operator's hat, it's easy for me to push the blame on the owner and say that, look, I need the finance to do anything. But the real truth about the environment bit of ESG is that it is an operator's responsibility to be able to bring that down because it's people-driven. And being people-driven, you are controlling the people in the hotel. You've got to impart that dedication in the people to save. So the fundamental is on the 3 R's, which is reduce, reuse, recycle. The first two, reduce and reuse, is 100% operator's responsibility, right? We've got to be able to take that forefront and do it. For example, the towels. We switched to bamboo towels quite some time ago because the water consumption is phenomenally lower. Right. And today we've even gone about giving corporates and gifting of thin bamboo towels so that that changes and goes back to the traditional Indian way of utilizing towels. There are a lot of activities that can be done. And if the operator takes the forefront, there's a lot that can be done to save energy across the hotels. So we run hotels that are operating at energy costs sub 5%. And that purely comes through the team's dedication in the hotel. Today, there's a green team in every hotel. And my first brief to the general manager is that your green team in your hotel should be empowered to pull you up if you've forgotten to switch off the electricity in your office when you've left it.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's fantastic. And I think the other very clear message that you're giving is that ESG is not just for the upper tier. ESG is for everybody. Fern Hotels is certainly not in the luxury space. It's in the mid-tier, mid-priced, upscale at best. But if you're able to achieve this kind of change, this kind of even discipline, and I know you guys are very disciplined about that, in that segment of the market, by an Indian chain, not driven by, I mean, or driven by international goals, but not driven by international philosophies, shall we say, for want of a better word. I think that's great. That's fantastic.
So another point, it was very interesting listening to the panel earlier, the general managers from large hotels. It's great to see that they've introduced it into their KPIs. That's something that we did in 2012. I've introduced it into all the general managers, the HODs, all of them have the ESG goals in their KPIs, right? They measure it, they report it every month. So this needs to go across as a philosophy across all the hotels. And I think it's about time that we get to it.
Absolutely. You'd like to make a point? Okay. Let's move to the S aspect of it, the social aspect of it, which sort of often doesn't get as much talk about it. In fact, a lot of people think the S is sustainability, it's not social. You know, so it's the social part of it. How does that work in the context of various needs, regulations, hours of work, and those aspects as well, vis-a-vis cost, availability of people, skills, giving people time off, sufficient time off? You know, there's multiple elements of this. I've just touched maybe 0.25% of it. How does that come together? Hyatt.
Thank you, Vijay. I think for us, when we look at it, the perspective is, are you looking at it as a cost or as an investment? We look at it as an investment because that's why we have these goals for us. That's why we have these various initiatives, which Hyatt has already publicly announced. So we look at it as an investment because this investment, now there are long-term investments, there are short-term investments. We look at it as a lifelong investment, life of human race, not our lives or the lives in future, but the life of human race, because we need to socially be so conscious. It's all about mindsets. We need to start investing on changing mindsets. Like what Nitin earlier said, if we can change mindsets, which say that I am going to consciously not look at it as a tick in the box, but as something which I think is my responsibility and I'm accountable for it. What are the initiatives I'm taking? How am I going to demonstrate it? How I'm going to live it? And how I'm going to execute it? In your earlier question also, when it was about operator and owner, I give you an analogy for that. I'll give you two analogies for that. One is it's a parent and child relationship where there's a father, there is a mother, and there's a child. In this, asset is the child, operator, and the owner. You can take them as mother and father, right? The other example I'll give you is home, parents and child, and the school, education, right? The child is the asset. Now, education doesn't only happen at school. So you can't say that the school is responsible for the education of the child. The education of the child happens at home as well. So if the operator is the school, the owner is the home. So we need to look at it that how are we educating, how are we changing perspectives, how are we changing mindsets from a social angle so that when we go and practice, we need to see that they are lived. And if we practice it, human beings are about habits, right? So we have to have those habits formed from a very nascent stage. My thought or Hyatt's thought comes from that. When we are building hotels, when we are designing hotels, when we are looking at initiatives, we are focusing on that. It's about investment, not about cost, or the outcome for sure would be more profits, would be longevity, and would be also giving back to the environment.
Giving back to society, I guess, is what you mean. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to go around everybody because that becomes rather boring, but anybody would like to add to that?
I look at differently. When you look at social, the hotel is a social place. You have people working from different cultures, people coming as guests to different cultures. Your training aspect, your people training, because everybody wants to come to a happier place. Every guest wants to come. So to bring that culture into a hotel running environment is a very, very important aspect of training, how people treat people. So it is a training ground, which is a social aspect of our learning. So from my understanding, from the social part of it, hotel has every aspect from ESG part of it, for training people, skilling people, and receiving people with that happy face.
Anybody else?
I think hotels are trendsetters in a lot of things, and initiative towards social action is one of them. Almost every brand that I know of and every hotel company that all of us know of is taking very large steps in that direction, and trying to be more inclusive, trying to tap into, uh, generate employment, skill people, bring them into the mainstream workforce, be it women, be it from the LGBTQI community, etc. So a lot's being done on that front. What we also need to look at is also to create an equity in the environment within the hotel, which Nitin just touched upon just now. In India, unlike the West, there's still a lot of social inequality. So the difference between the staff and the guests who come in on a socioeconomic status is massive. And culturally also, we are very servile by nature. Now, again, I'm linking it to most of the global brands. Their trainings modules, which have been in use for many years, were to train their employees to treat guests with respect, to treat them as gods, to treat them as guests. In India, that was inherent. On top of that, we gave this training to our people, the employees, I mean. We literally told them to become doormats. Time has changed. I think, and I've seen an example with Hyatt Centric in Goa, where they don't wear uniforms and uh, they're having fun on the job. It is a fantastic example. So I think we as hoteliers or leaders in the industry, and many of whom are here, and general managers need to give that, that social is not just about giving employment to person with disabilities, etc. It's also about improving the confidence levels of the people that are working with you, and giving them that, that respect that they deserve, and not making them bow to a guest when he's being unreasonable. A lot of things have happened in the past. We all have seen on ships how some guests behave, and just for profits, we've sacrificed those people. I think that aspect of social also needs to be weaved in somewhere in our conversations and the way we look at things.
Absolutely. And one very interesting change that has happened is partly because of the fact that our hospitality sector is diversifying into all kinds of second, third tier markets. That's bringing in people there to work. And those people are coming to work in the bigger hotels in due course. Are they people that you would have employed 20 years ago or 15 years ago, even maybe 10 years ago, even in a hotel? You would have probably said no, or not my first choice. Today, you may be starting to employ them, or the start may have happened because of a lack of manpower. But today, the maturity that they have, the sort of growth that they have seen, and then the growth that's happening across those markets is amazing, and it's going to help the country. Yes, to your point, they may not have the same standards, they may not have the same finesse, shall we say, but that's acceptable, and that has to be acceptable, and the operators have to back that up. So I think that's a great advantage of the growth that's happened in the industry. Anybody else wants to add any point on that, or we move to the next subject?
So yes, definitely, I believe that S plays a very important role in the overall ESG. The S strategy enables good employee retention as well. When you talk about attrition, which is we face a lot of troubles in manpower handling. So if you have a good S strategy, it kind of helps your employee retention. I've, on a very lighter note, the mindset and philosophy of S in the ESG also talks about gender equality, pay parity, inclusivity, diversity. We've had two panels here today, and we've only got one woman leader with us. So, I think, and also in a very male-dominated, position of a general manager, I would love to see, this position where operators are open to, take the onus and give the leadership, when we talk about gender equality. So S definitely plays a huge role. And I think we should be taking it more seriously rather than just focusing on the E, the environmental part of it, which has always been the center of ESG.
The thing that you just mentioned about, I was also thinking the same, that there was not even a single women GM before this, and I'm the only one sitting here. I think it's time now, we have to change. It is, and see, being a woman and being a women leader, I sit in a room when we have our monthly meetings or weekly meetings, in my conference room as well. I sit with all men, and I am all the time in, like, whenever I interview, I tell my HR, luckily she's a woman, that please get me women candidates. I want to have more women in my organization. But it is there is still a lot of difference, and especially I'll just, again, on a lighter note, when I go for meetings, when I go to meet government officials, or in India, the way they interact, or speak, or the interaction with women and versus men, it's very different. It's very different. And I feel, I try to cover it up as much as I can. But yeah, that's true. So
it's true.
and sad, I
it's
feel.
going to take its time to mature, but the change has to start happening. And the important thing is that the change has started happening. To the question of having women GMs and women leaders in the industry, there are. I mean, you see the last magazine of Hotelier India, and you've got a whole host of women GMs featured in that. Is it an equal parity? No, it takes time. Okay, but I think the good thing is that people are now not shy of it, and management's owners are not shy of it. There were owners who were diffident, saying that no, I'd rather have a male GM, and I don't think that's true anymore. So that's a good thing. We've just got 5 minutes left, and I want to cover two subjects if we can. If we can't, that's fine. The G aspect of it, the governance aspect of it. I was just hearing the previous panel as they spoke at the end, and the governance was the compliance aspect, the regulatory aspect, and more regulation, and the ethos of being compliant. To me, is it just compliance, or is it much more? Is it the regulator who has to tell you what you do and then you comply with it? Or is it that you set corporate policy, corporate philosophy, and then that becomes part of your governance as well? So what is the scope of governance as you see it?
I don't mind starting off here. I 100% agree with you. More governance is not the way to go, because the more you govern, the more people look at ways that they can just falsify documents, just get past just as a tick. It needs to be inculcated as a thought in their head that they need to do this. I mean, the second it comes into their being, you will get their true commitment rather than governing them to get it.
Right. I think regulation is extremely important, because not everybody is as ethical or as as your company may be. So regulation is important. It's a trigger point. It's a starting point of governance. Good governance stems from good regulation. From good governance emerges social responsibility. From good governance emerges, action towards sustainability, etc. If a company is not governed by good principles, ethics, obviously the other two would not exist, because the only driving force could be profits. So probably what Sohail wanted to say was less regulation, but I feel regulation plays a critical role too. But the implementation of regulation has to be in its true spirit.
Yes. I think we are all on the same point, that implementation has to be there, compliance has to be there. But the more you do quality self-governance, the pressure of external governance should come down.
Yeah.
What about risk-based governance? How much of business is done? And I don't see too much of that happening across a lot of boardrooms. It's tick in the box that yes, we do a risk management, but how much of real governance is happening based on risk management?
In Chalet, a lot. I know because we have a lot of meetings on risk management and governance led by that. So I'll leave it to the others. You can read on our website. There's lots.
See, bigger groups and I feel bigger brands that have resources, they're definitely, they must be having risk management as part of their strategy and everything. But I feel as Indians, we are firefighters. Than, like you say in healthcare, prevention is better than cure. I feel that in India, so I'll give you an example. We were largely into healthcare till 2016, and we started a Arogya program where we started gifting Arogya cards, healthcare checkup cards to our employees, to their families, and to our family friends. And there was so much resistance. Why are you giving this on birthdays? That's such a sad thing. We don't want to go to the hospital, but that's prevention. So similarly in hospitality, I also feel that it's lacking. And it is not just about the bigger brands. We have a huge number of budget hotels, 2 stars, 3 stars. So where? I don't see that. I don't think it's there. And like with this nature of firefighting that we have in India, I believe that needs to change a little bit. That's what I feel where I stand, but I don't know if you guys have anything else to.
From the governance aspect, most of the operators, they bring in good systems for governance and well-established methods of working. So I feel the right operators are bringing that. On the risk side, hotel business is a risky business. Every owner will agree. So we are managing risk all the time. It's a risky business. We are managing risk all the time. But on the governance side of it, I think so the operator's role is major. And most operators I have seen, they bring in the right systems for running of a property, which is would be the reason of getting the operator and having them there.
So I think systems is one part of it, because when you talk about governance, the word itself says forcing something, enforcing something, right? So I think in the environment which we live in, it can be a hybrid where you need governance, but we need to then look at people who are conscious of what they are doing, guided by the governance. So the governance is actually not being enforced here. There are people who we are actually welcoming to the family, whichever brand, whether Hyatt or whether whoever, that those people are conscious enough to take care of what is being, what is important. On the risk management, I think risk management is means to business continuity, which is what is important to the owners. So any risk management should be leading to business continuity plan of that asset. You need to look at risk management from that perspective, where business continuity is the outcome, risk management is the input. So that's something, that's just a simple equation.
Sorry, I love
there's
to sum up what he said is that we need to segregate governance and policing. In India, we do a lot of policing and less governing.
I think that's we couldn't end with a better summation of that difference. We are out of time. So thank you so much. I think we could have gone on with this conversation for longer. And Rajneesh, please note today there were no curved balls. So, but thank you so much to each of you for your participation. Thank you for listening to us.
Yes, yes.
I'll not take much time. Sorry to bother you all. First of all, I'm Apoorv from a company called Frost & Sullivan. And I got so enticed to ask this question because I'm passionate about sustainability. I heard all the gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen here in the previous panel discussing about the ESG. Are we not missing, like we know, every organization is talking about triple bottom line, profit, planet, and people. So we are missing one of the important element is people, because any transformation journey in the organization is driven by people. So that's where people plays an important role. And if I can ask one simple analogy, like we all aware, 10 years back, it was all green business. Then the ESG coined in, and now we are talking about business sustainability. So if any of you can, if you can throw some light, how you can differentiate sustainability and ESG? So that's my question, please, over to you.
The moderator of this session, I have to say that the S. I think we can pick up we understand through the social aspect of it.
Maybe if you'd like a deeper answer to that, then the first panel can give it to you, not this panel. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. So
I think we have a panelist who needs to leave, and he's the owner of the host hotel. So once he goes, we all have to go.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our esteemed panelists and moderator, for enlightening discussion on achieving profitably while considering sustainability. If I may ask you to stay back for 2 more seconds to express our gratitude to our panelists and moderator, may please call on stage Mr. Tushar Verma, LWT India and Subcontinent.
Listen, Sanya, can you hear me? Thank you for having me here. But I have seen the incredible journey of Sanya, and I was very fond of her dad, no more. You know, the Rockland Hospital have done amazing work. So, Sanya, you straddle the true spectrum. Come here. And she's done it so well, both in terms of hospitality and, you know, hospitals. Both work 24/7. Is that correct, Sanya? And I've seen her journey. I have so admired her journey. So, Sanya, thank you. Give this young lady a big hand. And Sanya, no, come here, come here. You know, when we were talking, and Sanya said, listen, Vibhor, why do you want me to be here? And she talked about, I want women HR. You know, Vinodni, my editor, has done an issue only celebrating women. So we are listening to you and we're making all the notes. So thank you, Sanya. Thank you very much. No, you are here for me, and it means a lot to me because I'm almost meeting you more after a decade. So more power to you and much sunshine to you.
Thank you. Thanks. Moving on to the next strongest pillar that made this awards night a phenomenal success and were in fact key to our celebration this evening. The panel that has handpicked our winners through an arduous and a rigorous process that were equal parts exciting and glamorous as well. Please give a huge round of applause for our grand jury for ESG Excellence Awards 2024. And now we move on to the much awaited awards gala, the Hotelier India ESG Excellence Awards 2024 Western Region. As we begin the vibrant celebration of ESG in hospitality, we have the honor of recognizing two exceptional establishments with special awards for their outstanding contributions to sustainability and innovation. The highly recommended by esteemed jury. Ladies and gentlemen, our first special award is for Emerging Sustainability Champion. And to present our very first award for the evening, I would like to call on stage Mr. Tushar Verma, LWT, and Rahul Sequeira, ITP Media India. Let's hear for them. And this special recognition goes to Novotel Imagica Khopoli. Congratulations, team. Can I ask Tushar to stay back, please? Moving on to a next special award, the most innovative ESG practice. This is a special citation by collective decision of jury to recognize the most out-of-the-box, outstanding work in ESG in hotels in the Western region. To present this award, I request Bibor Shrivastava, ITP Media India, to join Tushar on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please put on your hands together for the recipient of the Most Innovative and ESG Practice Award, a hotel that, in the words of jury, presented a simple case of not just doing the basics right, but also above and beyond. Any guesses? Grape County Eco Resort and Spa. Come on, let's hear it for them, guys. Congratulations, team. That is water conservation done right. Thank you to Sharon Vibor. Thank you so much. It's now time for highlight of the evening, the Hotelier India ESG Excellence Awards 2024 Western Region. Let's commence with the first ESG Excellence Awards category, Excellence in Corporate Governance, Hotel of the Year. To present this prestigious award, please join me in welcoming Viral Thakkar, Deloitte, and Vinodni Rao, Hotelier India, to the stage. The nominees for Excellence in Corporate Governance Hotel of the Year award in upscale to mid-scale segments are May I invite Mr. Vijay Thakkar and Mr. Mukesh Vashish from Howell on stage, please. And the winner of the Excellence in Corporate Governance Hotel of the Year award is Hyatt Regency Ahmedabad. Thank you, Mr. Vashish and Mr. Thakkar. And Vinodni, can I ask you to stay back, please? We now move to the next category, Social Responsible Hotel of the Year. To present this award in this category, may I please call on stage Ambika Gautam, People Network, Shankar De Dormakaba, and Vinodni. The nominees of Social Responsible Hotel of the Year in the upscale to mid-scale segment are May I also invite Sanya? Is she around? And the winner is Lemon Tree Premier, Mumbai International Airport. Give them a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. May I ask the presenters to please stay back on stage, please? Now, ladies and gentlemen, please direct your eyes towards the screen for the nominees for luxury to upper upscale segment. Everyone, please put your hands together for our winner, Taj Holiday Village Resort, Spa, Goa, and Taj Fort Agora Resort and Spa, Goa. Taj, where are you? Congratulations to the winners. Thank you, Ambika, Sanaya, and Vinodni. Sanya, sorry. Unfortunately, we do not have any winner in the economy to budget segment. And now we move on to the last category of the day, the sustainable and the environment conscious hotel of the year. May I request Mr. Ronak? Is Ronak there? Mr. Sanjay? Okay, Vinodni. I can't see Vibhor anywhere. Mr. Sanjay is there. Yeah. Thank you so much. Ronak, may I have you on stage, please? To present the award in this prestigious category, may I please call on stage Mr. Raja Raghavan, Mr. Tushar Verma from LWT. Can we please have the nominees on the AV in the upscale to mid-scale segment on the screen, please? Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the winner in the upscale to mid-scale category, the Western Mumbai Garden City. Let's hear it for them. Yes, let's give them a huge round of applause. Congratulations, team. Maybe request Ronak and Mr. Sanjay to be on stage, please. And maybe invite Mr. Rahul Square on stage. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the last award of the day The nominees in the luxury to upper scale segment are here on the screen. And let's have a huge round of applause for the one and only Taj the Trees, Mumbai. Where is Taj? Congratulations, Taj the Trees. Well deserved. Thank you to all the presenters. Thank you so much. A heartfelt congratulations to all the winners. Wow, what an evening. As we draw near the conclusion of this remarkable evening, may I call on stage Ms. Vinodini Rao, Editor, Hotelier India, to extend a heartfelt thanks to each one of you. Can I have Vinodini on stage, please?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What a splendid evening this has been. An evening filled with enriched discussions and delightful victories. Hotelier India started the GM Summit in 2022. Before we started this, launched this baby in 2022 in the third wave of COVID. And there was a bit of nervousness, but lots of excitement. And we are in our third year today, and we are only raring to go. This time, of course, with the launch of the ESG awards, which have paving the way for a new era in hospitality. The ESG era is what we call it. As Mr. Thakkar has rightly said, that we all have a commitment towards the industry, and this is Hotelier India's commitment to the ESG era of hospitality in India. On that note, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks from the entire team of ITP Media to all those who are present here today. Special thanks to all the panelists and the speakers and the moderators for taking the time out and gracing our occasion. And a special thanks to our supporting partners and People Network, Natwar Nagar, Ambika Gautam and team for guiding us throughout our journey in this ESG Award Excellence and, helping us with putting the whole thing together. And special thanks to all the partners and sponsors. Without you all, this event wouldn't have been possible. And last but not the least, to Team ITP India, Vibhor, Rahul, Shalu, Sheetal, Bruce, Johnson, all of y'all for working for the last 2 months really hard on this big show. And we look forward to our Bangalore edition and our Delhi edition soon, because we'll be traveling along with the GM Summit. We'll be taking this award to the different cities. And of course, the finale will be at the Hotelier India Awards in December. And more power to all of us. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Please join us for dinner and cocktails. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everyone. And with that, it's a wrap. This is Sheetal signing off. And let's continue conversations and celebrations over cocktails and dinners. Thank you and have a wonderful evening to all of you.
The journey that began in the early 1800s in different parts of the world has today become Lixil. With a history of 150 years, over 70,000 colleagues, 150 countries, and over 17 brands, we are unified in our greater purpose of making better homes a reality for everyone, everywhere. Our products touch the lives of more than 1 billion people every day. From the first shower toilet in Japan to Grohe's first 3D metal printed faucets, the journey that began in the early 1800s in different parts of the world has today become Lixil. With a history of 150 years, over 70,000 colleagues, 150 countries, and over 17 brands, we are unified in our greater purpose of making better homes a reality for everyone, everywhere. Our products touch the lives of more than 1 billion people every day. From the first shower toilet in Japan to Grohe's first 3D metal printed faucets, from American Standard Spectra shower with custom controlled touch technology to IoT powered homes. From Enax's first tiles at Imperial Hotel Tokyo to our tiles business in US and Asia. From Spain's system baths in Japan to prefabricated bathrooms in Asia. From net zero energy houses in Japan to Tostem's most panoramic glass windows, Lixil is present wherever your eyes can look. And while we are the best home solution provider in the world, it is amazing to think that we are just getting started. Let's talk future. It's time to grow. To think beyond the horizon. It's time to leverage our multi-brand, multi-category strength. With over 10,000 patents, we make things that matter. Like American Standard's Measure Fill Faucet in the Americas, the first ever to deliver adjustable water volume, transforming living spaces in Asia with the City Vanity and the Castello collections. Grohe turning up the shower experience with smart control and concealed Rapido Smart Box. Grohe Blue offering the perfect bottle-free taste straight from the tap. Enax's global expansion at Milan Design Week. Our fully loaded kitchens portfolio, from small spaces to luxurious residences, now in China too. And Sato, improving sanitation for over 12.5 million people, with 2.5 million units shipped to over 25 countries. Yes, we are equally proud of our $5 toilet. So, what's our secret to transforming everyday life? We have global resources that we can access and scale like no other. Our formidable assets, 93 factories in 14 countries. Annual R&D investment of $270 million US. Nearly 90 design awards won since October 2017. Channel mix and huge customer base across the world.